A hole for telling the person I'm dating I don't have kids? Plus update. Original post. I, 28 male, recently got into a car accident. I'm fine. I wasn't at fault, but my car was a total loss. I'm happy about it though. Normally, I get a new car every year or so, but because of the loan I had to take on this one, I kept it for longer and was genuinely bored of it. My insurance paid me out for the wreck, and with savings and the insurance money, I dropped cash on a used Assign FRS. For those unaware, it's a little two-door stick-shift sports car. The problem starts with the girl I'm seeing, Jen, 24 female, and her son Zeke, 3. I was showing Jen the car, how much I liked it, and that it was a goal for a long time to buy a car of this caliber in cash. She got in, saw the back seats, and said, "Wow, you really can't fit anyone back there, even a kid." I said, "Yeah, but it's really just me driving it, so I don't need a big car. And I don't have kids, so I really didn't need to be sensible." She immediately got out of the car and asked if Zeke meant anything to me. I said Zeke was awesome. He's a great kid, but he's not mine. She asked if I was even ready for the responsibility of a kid, and I said Zeke is the only one I've spent this much time with, but I've only been dating her 4 months and have known him for 2, so I really hadn't thought of him as more than her kid. She said I was seriously immature and acting like a teenager with my stupid car and grow up. I haven't talked to her at all since that conversation, which was yesterday, but she's texted me a few times letting me know how she feels. Her brother also let me know I needed to man up and start taking things seriously. The most confusing part is she drives a Honda Pilot, a whole SUV. So if I need to shuttle Zeke around, I can use her car, and I'm never alone with him anyway. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. Honestly, for a short time you all have been dating, you shouldn't have even met this kid yet, let alone be making long-term financial decisions with him in mind. I really didn't want to. I've been child-free by choice, but I really liked her, so I decided to give it a chance. She called me one night to change a tire. I showed up and a 3-year-old was staring at me. We clicked, as I have 43 cousins and a lot have kids, but it's just because he's a kid, and I would be a massive prick to be like, "Get the heck away, you little turd." You are child-free? Dude, run. I don't date parents anymore. This one wants a father for a kid. I have no problem with kids or even being a stepdad if that ever came around. I'm just not actively trying to have kids of my own. I say child-free because it's easier than explaining I've been surrounded by babies and young kids my entire life, and I'm perfectly fulfilled not having my own. But if a future paper has them/wants them, I have no issue fathering or caring for a child. No need to explain your reasons. This Looney Tune called you awful names to lecture you about adult choices. Laughable. Also, her brother can tell that baby daddy to man up, not a young kid she's known for 4 months. Bullet dodged, son. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Good choice in cars. Might not be the best choice in girlfriends. Now for the update. Because I want to just get it out there, lol. The accident happened 2 weeks ago. I bought a new car on Monday, and this all happened Thursday night. After she blew up, I never replied to her texts that night. I was upset and wasn't in the headspace to calmly talk about what happened. So I smoked some weed, played GTA, and fell asleep. I worked today, Saturday, and wasn't able to check my phone. I work at a shop building high-performance cars on Saturdays, so I need all my focus going to clients that spend $20,000+ on these things. I came home and had a small conversation via text with her, where I then made this post. After, I told her over text I'm not selling the car, but in a few months I'll finance a truck since I need one to tow the boat. I promise I'm not rich, just professionally poor. I buy junk and fix it up. And she did not think this was an acceptable response. I left it alone again and went to my parents' house to hang out with them and relax. She called me, absolutely hammered drunk, and went on a 20-minute ramble about the choices I make in my life and how she expected me to be a better person. I don't want to get this post banned from the subreddit, so I'll just say I no longer have to worry about being Zeke's stepdad or what Jen thinks about my automotive situation. I really liked her, so it's kind of a bummer, but these comments and her phone call opened my eyes to a big pot of marinara flag she was cooking. That's really the only update I have. I really hoped it'd be more dramatic, lol. I went into this thinking Opie hid the fact that he had kids from his girlfriend or something. But yeah, I'm on his side for this. 4 months is incredibly short, and expecting him to basically adopt her kid after that is daft. It's not like he wasn't open to it, but this is the equivalent of demanding someone marry you basically. Meeting Zeke within the first 2 months of dating says a lot. Opie wants a relationship, Mom wants a family. She's already judging his actions through a "why aren't you thinking about our kid" lens. And even had her brother call him to man up. For Pete's sake, it isn't even his kid. That call should have been to the baby daddy. 4 months, and she wants him to be the daddy already? That's dodgy as hell. Glad he got out of there. I find it strange that he even met the kid after only 2 months. That's just a recipe for that child developing attachment/abandonment issues. I have single-parent friends who won't let a potential partner meet their kids for at least 6 months, and after a conversation that established boundaries and deciding to be fully committed. My mom took me on dates with her, and she let her dates try to parent me when I was an older kid, like 10 or 11. When I was younger, I never met anyone, and I would have preferred if she had continued that. She had odd taste in men. My mom took me on her first date with my stepdad. He was/is an amazing guy, and took on the role wholeheartedly. But it does bother me a little to think that he was more or less emotionally manipulated into being a dad. I guess in the end, it just makes me love him more. Now for the second story. Update. Am I the a-hole for revoking my wife's access to my car? Original post. I, 36 male, love my wife, 32 female. She is awesome and our relationship is solid, but she's a very different person than I am. I am, by nature, an organized and process-oriented person. I work as a project manager and my life is focused around structure, planning, deadlines, etc. My wife is the opposite. She's a creative type with a great career in advertising. Nothing about her life is organized. Everything is haphazard and somewhat chaotic. But this is what makes her good at her job. I understand and accept that and have done since I fell in love with her. We're different and that's a huge part of her awesomeness. She's cool and exciting and brought new things to my life. I love that. The issue. We both have cars. My car is newer and has better tech, but they're similar. But I keep my car clean and tidy all the time, while her car is a mess. Garbage, empty coffee cups, trash rolls around when driving, etc. She hates dealing with it. And because my car is nicer than hers, she prefers to use my car. 3 weeks ago, she's going to a friend's place up in the woods, 5 hours drive, for a girls' weekend. I'm going out for the weekend skiing, 3.5 hours. We're both leaving at the end of work Friday. At 4 p.m., my wife is done and she leaves. Love and kisses, etc. When I finish at 7:30 p.m., I'm antsy to get going, so I go to load my gear. But when I get outside, my car is gone, and hers is on the driveway. I thought, what the heck? Did she take my car? I call her and we have a fight because I'm angry. I have a ski rack on my roof, and the gear doesn't really fit in her car. But she's already 3 hours into her trip up north. I don't want to ruin her weekend by making a big deal about this, so I suck it up. There's no gas in her tank as usual, so I get gas. And as I leave the gas station, I get pulled over. I'm just freaking angry at this point. Cop asks for license and registration, which I'm already looking for and can't find. There's tons of papers and receipts, and all sorts of random things in the glove box and center console. I can't find it. Cop, I pulled you over because your license plate tags are expired. Me, this vehicle is registered to my wife's name, of previous apartment address as she hasn't updated her registration. Cop, there's also unpaid citations on this vehicle. I have to inform you that I am impounding this vehicle. The cop writes up a ticket, calls a tow truck and tows it to the pound. Since then, we have had a couple of huge fights about this. I feel that she needs to be more organized, starting with keeping her car legal. To force the issue, I have revoked my wife's usage privileges of my car until such a point that we're on more of an equal footing, and she's mad about it. I am not prepared to budge on it until she takes care of her car situation. So give it to me straight. Am I being an a-hole about a car? Now for the top comments before reading the updates 8 months later. Not the a-hole. Wow, she really screwed you over. How can she even be mad at you? She should be apologizing. Okay, to be fair, she did apologize profusely when she found out what happened. She's not mad at me per se. I think she's mostly mad at the situation and probably a bit embarrassed. But yeah, it did seriously screw me over. Found out what happened? Dude, she's well aware that she got tickets and didn't pay them. She's well aware her registration is expired. She took your vehicle because it's legal and there was no risk of her getting pulled over and the car impounded. She knew her car shouldn't be on the road, and she left you with it anyway. Not the a-hole. Curious as to your wife's point of view though. She took your car without asking, probably to avoid being told no. You end up missing your weekend because of her car. And she's mad because she has to use her own car now? Yep, she uses my car all the time. And I am totally fine with it because we're a team and we share everything. She says she simply didn't think about it. And I'm inclined to believe her because that's true to her character. It's not really an excuse, but she's not the type to deliberately do something secretively that she knows I will disagree with. She's pretty open and we communicate well. In this situation, she messed up and she knows it. But it's prompted a bigger conversation between us about her being a lot, more responsible. And now for the update. Hi everyone. It's been a while and I've had a lot of requests for an update. A lot has happened in the past 8 months. This issue really opened up a huge can of worms that I am having a hard time knowing what I want to do moving forward with. Bear with me, this is long. So here's what happened since this post. Important context, we never joined our finances. We have separate bank accounts where pay goes into, and a joint account that we both put our monthly funds to cover joint expenses. And it's been working fine for years. We also have separate accounts for things like cell phones, car insurances, and other stuff that we had before we got together. Retrieval of her car. 1. I've never had a car towed before, so didn't really know what to do. And holy smokes, this was a complete crap show. I called the number for the impound lot, and they informed me that before I could get the car back, we needed to pay off all the citations, get the car compliant, etc. Of course, the DMV doesn't open till Monday, so I'm without car all weekend. 2. Monday. We got into the DMV to sort this out. I find out that there are 47 unpaid tickets for my wife's car, going back for almost 2 years, which cost over $1,500 to clear out. I was dumbfounded. I almost exploded and asked what the heck is going on here. And she basically started crying, saying she knew it was an issue but didn't realize it was this bad. 3. She didn't have enough money to pay for the tickets because her credit card is maxed out, which was news to me too. She has a $10,000 credit limit on her card, so I paid it off. 4. Then we tried to change her registration from her old address to our address, which prompted a whole other issue. Her insurance has lapsed. I didn't know this either. So we had to get on with her insurance company to get that sorted out. While going through this process, I discovered that her premium was literally 4 times more than mine, and they insisted on a full payment upfront for the 12-month period, which was $4,800. 5. To get everything complete and a car to be released took 3 days. Then we went to the pound to get a car. $375 towing fee, plus a $90 per day storage fee, so $825 needing payment. Again, I had to pay because she couldn't afford it. We get home and I'm just fuming. This just cost me about $7,000 in a few days. Our first real fight. After we get home from picking up the car, I'm just beyond frustrated and angry at this entire situation and need to have clearing of the grievances with her. This blew up over 4 hours to the biggest fight we've ever had. I thought we had fights before, but this was different. It was relationship existential. It really opened my eyes to the real issue, that being I actually don't really know who she is anymore. So many skeletons came out of the closet in this 4-hour roller coaster of emotions. Here's the highlight. Her money situation. 1. I was surprised that her credit card was maxed out its $10,000 limit. She makes great money, about $25,000 more annually than I do. So her lack of money was unexpected. Then I asked her how much debt does she have in total. At this point, I only know of the $10,000 credit card debt I learned about a few days beforehand. 2. I learned that she had 6 credit cards. All of them are basically maxed out. Total credit card debt is $24,000, all with high interest. 3. She also had 3 store cards all maxed out. Total scorecard debt is $2,500. 4. I also learned she had a line of credit for $18,000, also maxed out. 5. She also owes to various friend and family members, about $8,000. 6. Her total debt is $52,000. 7. She makes the monthly minimum payments only, on everything. At this point, I am shocked and reeling. I can't believe it. I feel physically sick. I didn't know about any of this, and I'm at a loss as to why I don't know. I don't even know who she is anymore. We've been married 2 years, together for 5.5 years. When we moved from dating to a relationship, we had a pretty big talk about core values and what was important to be aligned on before getting really involved. Obviously, things like being exclusive are key, but I also said that financial security and being debt-free are very important to me. I made some stupid decisions in my early 20s that hurt me financially, and I had to work hard to get out from under that. I said I have 3 pillars that I wanted to build a future with her on. These were deal breakers. If she's not 100% on board, then we shouldn't continue dating because I was falling in love and I didn't want to go further unless there was a future. 1. Cheating in any form is a deal breaker. 2. Financial irresponsibility is a deal breaker. 3. Family. I want to have kids. I reminded her of this in the fight, and she said that I had come on too strong at that point about financial irresponsibility. She already had most of the debt at that point and decided to not say anything at that moment, which she acknowledged was a mistake because she thought I would have broken up with her there and then. Then she kept hiding it because she wanted to try and rectify it before I found out, but she couldn't. She also pointed out that I never asked about her financial situation, which is true. I didn't. So that was where we were. At this point, I was pretty upset, and I have to leave the house. So I left and went to stay at a friend's house for the night, which ended up being a couple of weeks in the end. The next morning when I woke up, I felt devastated. I had to take some time off work because I couldn't think straight. I kept racking my brains to understand how this happened. How did I not know? How did I not see the signs or evidence? I felt betrayed. It was like I had been cheated on, but somehow worse. I couldn't bring myself to speak to her for the first few days because I was so upset and/or angry. I am not usually a very emotional person, so this was difficult to process. I would go from rage to tears to rage to despair in a few minutes. I didn't trust myself around anyone to not be a raging a-hole. She was blowing up my phone asking me to talk to her and come home, but I couldn't. Eventually, I asked my friend to call her and tell her to give me some space and time, which she did. But later on that day, I had her brother and both parents also reach out to me to see if they could speak. I politely declined and said any time. Obviously, she was going through a tough time too and reached out to them for help. The last 6 months have been hard, but we're working through it. We're both committed to that. But I am still struggling with the enormity of the situation. I still can't help feeling betrayed. I have lost a lot of trust in her, but we're in a couples therapy to get through this. She's trying really hard to make it work, correct her mistakes, and work on being a more organized and reliable person. I see that. She's made some real major changes in how she runs her finances. She's taken debt counseling sessions and is following those teachings quite diligently and being really transparent with her situation. In the last 6 months, she's consolidated all the cards into one loan and canceled all her old cards. The debt is down to $14,000 since this all started, so this is all super positive. So I am hopeful this has a good ending.